Welcome to Getting Heated, the place to debate and discuss all things surf related. It's on today. The Boost Mobile Margaret River Pro has been a highlight reel for the ages, but who is really stealing the show? The Underdogs or the Mainstays? And the debate is on for the most exciting 10-point ride at Main Break, John vs. Kelly. Plus, who's winning the showdown of Goofy vs. Regular at the Boost Mobile Margaret River Pro? Finally, in some locations, it's all about the equipment, but does a bigger quiver equal better results? Now, with a combined 28 years on the championship tour, here's Mick Fanning and Ross Williams.
Okay, Mick, we're back. It's just us this 2 week. No Coco.
Mate, have you brushed your teeth lately? I feel like Coco thinks we've got bad breath or something. She never wants to show up.
That's the beauty of online. You can't smell my breath through the internet.
Mine's probably just as bad.
Mick, I got to ask you, we had a huge swell. Did Margaret River, in your eyes, redeem itself?
A little bit here and there. Some of the performances really got me inspired, but still that end section and a few different sections on the wave just still frustrates the hell out of me.
All right, well, let's get into it. We got some good topics.
Who is stealing the show at the Boost Mobile Margaret River Pro? The Mainstays or the Dark Horses?
Okay, this is a really fun topic, I think, for both of us because there's been awesome performances by both Dark Horses and our main horses. So for this argument, Mick, I'm going to side with the favorites just because we have a huge chunk of them. Like the whole upper echelon of the ratings is still going in the event. We got Gabriel, who's doing his thing. We have Italo, who I was personally really interested to see if he could sort of switch gears from aerial surfing to Margaret River surfing, and he's done that really well. And then, of course, John doing his thing like he always does, sort of stealing the show with the best carves and even throwing in a crazy barrel. And then on the women's side, I was really impressed with Stephanie Gilmore. I thought she looked great to me. Her board looked a little long in the small wave heat, but I thought she was just beautiful surfing as usual. And then Carissa, I mean, she's going to be tough to beat. She's just got that strong forehand carve that's almost unmatchable. So the Mainstays were looking really solid so far.
They were. I think that's something that we come to expect from the Mainstays these days. But my favourites, I'm going to start with Ryan Callanan. That one wave that was a 10, that last turn was so big on the biggest section. If he didn't make that, he would have been waking up extra sore the next day. So big props to him. Another big props to Griffin Colapinto. Griffin, he's looked solid. He's attacked every section that he's seen. He's looks sharp. One for the old boys. Jeremy Flores, I think that heat with Jack Robbo, that's up there for heat of the year so far. How clutch was it with that last 9-point ride to just smash those two sections? I'm going to go on forever, mate. But,
keep going. I like it.
Someone who I felt like people haven't really seen him this year. People probably thought that he hasn't had a great start to the year is Matt McGilvray. I felt like on that big day, he went for it. I don't think people know that even though Matt McGilvray is probably the nicest guy on tour, he's an underground psychopath. He's a base jumper. And so when he gets into these conditions, like he just went on a closeout just so he could get a free fall drop. I think he was missing some base jumping. So I felt like he looked extremely strong. My last one is Bronte McCauley. That was a great heat against Carolyn. You know, when you're coming up against those big numbers or the big names, when they start off with such a strong ride, I feel like the younger girls and guys or the people that are down the ratings a little bit more, they sort of fall away really quick. Bronte just got stronger. She was up for the fight. She really delivered. So big props to Bronte.
Yeah. Are you done?
I got 6 more. No, I'm joking. I'm done.
Yeah. I want to jump on the bandwagon, but I will say just to protect sort of my pick with Mainstays, we're going to get to the pointy end of the event, and that's when we're going to see these top seeds sort of pick apart these lower seeds, or at least I think they will. So, John is just too strong out there. I think he's going to march through the event. One girl we haven't mentioned yet, who maybe I'm a little bit biased because I work with her, but who has been putting together some awesome rides and scores in this event is Tati on her backhand. We're going to get into that later in the show with the goofies and the regulars, but yeah, she's been looking sharp. But again, I kind of think Carissa, she's so consistent out there. So as far as the mainstays, I think they're going to right the ship and show these underdogs who's boss.
Yeah, we might have to put a carton of beer on this one. It'll be good.
When we return, the debate is on for the most exciting 10-point ride at Mainbreak. Plus, who's winning the showdown of Goofy vs. Regular at the Boost Mobile Margaret River Pro? We'll be right back.
Mainbreak is lighting up. Kelly Slater taking off, pulling into the barrel. He's going to find his way out, and a huge frontside arc.
Easy 10-point ride. That's the easiest 10 the judges have ever dropped.
As we see Sebastian Zeitz locked in so deep.
Oh, he's still there! He's still there! Oh my God! Oh my gosh! That was a special 10.
We'll take a 10 any day. So.
Here goes Owen on another big bomb. He is locked in and finds his way out. The scores are dropping. It's our second 10 for the year.
Meanwhile, out the back, big old takeoff. This is John Florence. He wants to get barreled, folks. He is. He's looking for an exit. Where is he? Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God.
John is a wizard, and he's done it again at Margaret River.
Man, that was pretty sick. That's a lot of amazing 10-point rides. And I don't know, your pick of sea basses in a few episodes ago, that's still holding pretty strong, isn't it?
It is. It was a dream wave, but yeah, it's pretty exciting. More 10s, first one of the season so far, so excited to dive into this.
Let's do it.
John Florence versus Kelly Slater's 10-point ride at Mainbreak. Which one provided the most excitement?
Which one provided the most excitement? I'm going to have to go with John on this one. I felt like his tube was a lot more technical. He had to get super high in the barrel. He covered a huge distance. I saw Taj post a story of John, and I was like, was that the best way ever to come through Mainbreak? And Taj just wrote back, he's a wizard. I feel like Kelly's one was just dreamy. It was one of those waves that you would draw in your school book, and it was, he'd not a touch of water out of place, but I just thought on the technical side, John's was just that little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what's cool about this sort of scenario is they are two extremely different 10s. And I guess that's a microcosm of what Margaret River is. It's a bit skitsy like that. It provides so much different platforms and wind and size. And as you mentioned, Kelly's was such a way more of a dreamy wave. But if you look at the two, man, that's the wave you want to surf. And for that to be at Mainbreak makes it even more of sort of an anomaly because, Mainbreak gets kind of hollow and it has a bit of a wedge to it. But that wave that Kelly had looked like backdoor or something. It just looked like, way too hollow and perfect for Mainbreak. So yeah, that's the wave I want to surf.
You can surf it. I'll sit on the beach. We're talking about Kelly and John's perfect 10s. Two waves that I thought should have been 10s that aren't in this reel. Italo's first ever wave at the box was just incredible. And then Arkow's wave just from the other day. I felt like those two waves were 10s, and the boys sort of almost got robbed there.
I will say this is also, if you think about it, we just watched that highlight reel, Nick, of all those 10s, and then you throw in those two rides that could have been 10s. I just can't help but to think, this wave that you loathe so much produces a lot of highlights.
One was at the box, the other one was at North Point.
Fair enough.
Still not serving it, Ross. I'll caddy for you.
Goofy versus Regular. Who's winning the battle at Margaret River?
This is a bit of a cliche, Mick. We kind of hear this almost every single event in the commentary. At Margaret River, this has been it's come to light for sure. You have RCal's near 10, which is sort of the epitome of amazing backside surfing. I mean, it doesn't get a whole lot better than that. And everyone's been blowing Ryan up this whole year because he's just been ripping. But I'm gonna stick with my regular footers. And I think it's just because, to me, to do a really strong, committed, high risk, high scoring carve on your forehand is, in my eyes, a lot harder to do than a backside hook. Backside hook, you really need to have like this critical gnarly section to make it super, super exciting. Everyone loves a backside snap. You go 12 o'clock, you throw a spray, it gets scored all day long. But the history books are getting burned with John's carves and even Carissa's carves and Steph's. So if push comes to shove, I'm gonna stick with that type of surfing out there.
Yeah, look, it's hard to defer to the Goofies, but I feel like they're doing good this event. I was listening to something the other day, and they were talking about how natural footers used to be so dominant on tour, and that's getting burnt. Those history books are getting burnt with Gabe and Italo. I feel like in this event, the Goofies that have progressed on have been so solid. RCal has gone off, I think, 2 16-point heats. Gabe and Italo are running 15-point heats, and that's hard. That's hard to do out at main break. That, as I've talked about before, it's not a super steep face to actually go up and square up. So I feel like we're going to throw Bronte and Carolyn in there, and Taddy as well. I feel like they're across the board. They've just been extra solid. They haven't gone and done anything crazy yet, except RCal with that one turn. But yeah, the waves that they're put together, just very, very strong and very workmanlike, which is something that I want to see from the Goofies and step it up. But once again, I'm both surfing I'm really enjoying.
I know you're loyal. You're a loyal regular foot. You don't have to explain to me, Mick.
Doing it for the company, mate. Doing it for the company.
I will say there's some nuance there, right? There's room to talk about it because or sort of analyze, because not every goofy foot wave is the same. Not every regular foot wave is the same as far as performance and like leveling up. When you compare just an okay carve and a really crazy carve by John or Julian or some of the guys that are the best at it, where they hold that rail, they get half their board cutting through the water. There's no spray flying off the nose because they're just so precise. Their style looks good. It's really rare. It's super hard to do. It's, in my opinion, so much harder to do than a backside snap, which Goofies are known for. That backside surfing, again, I love it. I think it's cool. It's an easy way to score in heats, but that's really, really hard to perform a 10 out of 10 type of carve.
Yeah, I guess you're sort of limited with the turns that you can do on your backhand. But the thing that has been setting these guys and girls up for these huge, turns is their bottom turn. We saw Gabriel hold a bottom turn for like 2-3 seconds, just coming around a huge section. Same with RCal. He's really attacking that bottom turn. And I think that's what's really setting these guys apart when it comes up against, RCal beat Ethan Ewing, who I was penciled in as another quarter. But I guess it also goes back to, I want to see a rippable big left on tour. That's what was the beauty about Cloudbreak, where you did have the barrels, but you also had the potential to just go up and down. I would love to see John doing that. I'd love to see guys like Griffin and Jeremy really rip into those big backside turns, because we don't get to see that often. And then we could have a really good comparison.
Yeah, that's a good call, Mick. And that brings us back a few episodes. We were talking about dream scenarios for locations for maybe that finals day. And I think we both were right away like, oh, Lakey Peak, because it's such a sick left and right. I'm with you on that. It'd be really cool to see these regular footers perform on their backside.
100%. Let's see it. Come on, WCL. Let's do it.
When we return, at a place like Margaret River, it's all about the equipment being ridden. But on tour, does a bigger quiver equal better results? We're going deep into it when we come back.
All right, Mick, you know how important it is to know each surf spot, know where you're going. You have to bring the right boards. When you were going to West Oz, knowing that you're going to Margaret's where there's so much, a variety of waves, what did you bring other than the wine bottle opener?
Yeah, I probably should have only taken that, since I never did any good.
Having the right equipment is a major factor at Margaret River. When it comes to Quiver on tour, should surfers continually change it up or stick by what's tried and true?
No, look, I guess there's a few ways to look at it. We've looked at different people coming and adapting new boards to new locations, and I don't think anyone's done this better than John out at Mainstay's. Like that Ghost that he's riding, that 6'2" Ghost, he's taken that from obviously home all the way over here. And when everyone first saw that, everyone's like, oh, I've got to have that exact board so I can do that type of surfing. And I think people found out quickly that that doesn't work. I've done that many times where I thought, oh, I have to go to Pipeline and I want to ride these short boards and do what these guys are doing. And it just didn't work. I felt like I was out in front of the tube, or I just had too much volume. I couldn't control speed. And a place like Mainstay as well, I tried the same. I tried to go short and thick and just couldn't sink the rail the way that I wanted to. So I went the other way. I just went, I'm going to keep it long and traditional, and because I knew those type of boards. But we've seen a group of guys that have done the short stuff. Obviously, John's next level at it. Griffin seems like he's riding a super small board, similar type to that Pizel Ghost. But then I've really liked the guys that are on the longer boards. I feel like the rail turns that they're doing has been extremely crisp. So guys like Jeremy Flores was on a 6'4", Arcal was on a 6'4", Chipper Wilson, he was on a 6'6", a super thin 6'6", and even seeing someone like Jack Robbo, who's notorious for riding short boards, he jumped up to a 6'4". So I think it's horses for courses, really. I think it's something that you have to go and put the time in. You can't just go, oh, John does this, so I'm going to do that.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's an important thing to sort of discuss, because there's so much focus on what John rides. There's so much focus on what Kelly Slater rides. And you can't blame anyone, because they're very interesting and they're some of the best in the world. We want to know why they're surfing so great. But like you said, man, just because John rides it, that doesn't mean maybe you should, because that dude is doing some weird stuff on waves, and he's expecting different things out of his equipment. He really wants something sensitive where he can perform in a tight pocket on a 12-foot wave, which is not normal. Back in the day, especially in my day, it was something. Those types of conditions were something you sort of survived, and then Kelly Slater helped sort of open everyone's eyes to being more aggressive with equipment, and the irons too. The different lines that Andy drew on a wave, it demanded different boards. So these guys are like the pioneers, and they're the ones pushing what we see in a surfboard.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Andy Irons. He was someone that would ride a longer board. He was someone that he was so strong and so aggressive that it didn't matter what he rode. He could just push through it and put it into places that people wouldn't expect. That was just his raw energy and his raw aggression towards a wave. Kelly has had a few attempts at it where he's gone extra short, and it's really shortened up his turns and just hasn't really worked that well. And so he's gone back to the drawing board and come back again with a different style of equipment. One thing that I found really interesting that I felt like people were so blown away by was John was talking about his fins and how he goes down to a medium fin in bigger waves. I thought that was just something that everyone would do. I remember when I was on tour, anytime I got over a 6'1", I'd go from my large fin down to a medium fin, because you've got that extra rail. Anytime that I had a large fin in a long board, it just felt like it just was too sticky. So that was a really interesting point that I felt people haven't really invested enough time into playing with equipment and stuff like that, and maybe get out there and do their own research on that side of thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it, Mick? And then I also wanted to go back to Andy Irons because, you know, here's someone who drew some super aggressive lines and big waves, you know, in the pocket, he would crash through sections. But as you mentioned, you know, especially the era where he was surfing all those years, boards were a bit longer, but they had more curve. They had more rocker. And now you have your Ghost and your John boards that they sort of scrunch these boards down so that they're shorter, they can be sensitive, they can fit in a pocket, but it has that longer drawn out tail. I guess it goes back to the top of this segment where you have to sort of be smart and own how you surf and what works for yourself.
If you got to order one board to go and surf 6 to 8 foot waves, Ross, what would it be?
I would probably order Eric Awakawa. I've been riding some of his boards the last couple of winters, and you know, Paisel, Tokoro, there's so many talented shapers out here in Hawaii. We're pretty spoiled, but they're just timeless. They're classic, and they're very reliable. How about yourself?
Me, my favorite board to ride in those sort of conditions, like if I was going to surf that first day in Margaret River, I would have rode a 6.6. I would have had all the length I possibly could just to hold that rail.
Well, Mick, speaking of 6.6, I see a couple more swells on the horizon there for Margaret. So I guess we'll be tuning in to see what everyone rides down there.
It's going to be exciting. There's some big performances coming up. So I'm going to be glued to the screen, even though it is my least favorite wave on tour to watch, but the action is going to be next level. So hope everyone out there tunes in and we'll have a good time.